Making music for a child's heart, body, and mind.
Hello everyone, it's good to be back again to school. How was your holiday? How was your weekend? The holiday I meant was I'm talking about the last week's public holiday. That's the Democracy Day. That's the holiday I'm referring to. I hope you all had fun. You were able to stay, you were at home naturally, had fun, stay with everyone, and then continue being safe. Today we are back to the same topic we had last week, which is figures of speech. I told you this topic is quite lengthy. It's going to spread far until more than next week even. So just pay attention and then follow up as we go. So today, in today's figures of speech, we are going to the next topic, which is euphemism. Euphemism. Now, euphemism is a figure of speech that actually uses a mild term. When you talk about, when you're trying to refer, when you're saying something is in euphemism, or you're trying to use to bring in euphemism in a speech, it means you're saying something very, very important in a mild term, something that actually happened, and it's way more important than it actually happened, but you want to report it, and you're reporting it in a very mild way, in a very simple way, in an unimportant manner, making it look as if it's of no importance and all that. So that's what euphemism does in a figure of speech. Now, another thing that this euphemism does in a figure of speech is that it makes it look as if you're trying to communicate with to someone about an issue, but you're actually not making sense at all. You're trying to communicate with someone, you're trying to tell someone, you're trying to pass a message, but in the end, you're not saying anything. That's just how it is. You see something, when you bring down the level or the importance of a situation, you're actually not making any communication. But when you say the matter in the enormity it is, as in the way it is, then we know that you are actually making progress. Now we have some examples of okay, I must add this one. Euphemism makes bad appear good. That's another part of euphemism. It makes something bad, it makes something negative, it makes an evil thing appear good, make it look as if there is something good about it. Meanwhile, there's nothing. Okay, now here are some examples. You aren't poor. You go to a neighborhood and you see someone that needs money, and you tell the person that the person is not poor, rather the person is just economically disadvantaged. You see what I'm talking about? Someone needs money. Someone is actually in dire need of help or money, and you tell the person that the person is not just poor, the person is just economically disadvantaged. Now, when we talk about this statement here goes in two forms or in two ways. You could be speaking by faith, you could also be bringing down the situation, making it appear less than it is. And either way, the person you're relating with may not actually be able to grasp the message or the enormity of the issue on ground. So that's what euphemism does. Another one is the same way, trying to tell someone that is poor that he's not poor, but the person rather has a temporary negative flow of cash. You don't have money, you need money, and someone is just telling you you have a temporary negative flow of cash. Seriously? All right, we have the next one. You go to a slum. We have a lot of slums around this town. In every city, there is a slum somewhere. You know what we call slum? Those areas, those really, really disadvantaged areas. Those areas where the poorest of the poor live. That's where we call a slum. And those places are usually dirty. And slums usually are close to water somehow. There is somehow a river or water close by. So those places are not usually nice. Now you tell the person that, okay, you are trying to explain or describe a situation and you're like, I found myself in an economically depressed neighborhood. Pay attention to these three words. Economically depressed neighborhood. Now that's what a slum is. And that's what you're trying to tell someone that you found yourself in. That's a place you found yourself in. And rather than saying it exactly the way it is, you know, if you're saying it the way it happened or if you're saying it the way it is, you could actually um, attract help. The government could come in there and do something about it. But you saying it in the other way around, nobody will really understand what you're referring to. They won't really understand the enormity of the situation because they've not been there. They are trying to see the place through the eyes of you that have been there. Okay, we have the next one. They live in a substandard system of housing. Meanwhile, the person lives in a slum. Remember, I've conveyed two messages in 4 sentences. So, wherever capital punishment is allowed, innocent people are usually punished. Now, let me explain this last sentence. Wherever capital punishment is allowed, innocent people are usually punished. What does that mean? You know what capital punishments are or is? Capital punishment is the punishment meted out to killers. For instance, a killer or a murderer is liable to receiving a capital punishment. Rapists, the same thing. Um, um, Not every punishment, not every sin deserves a capital punishment. So that is the reason the government in so many areas of the world make a conscious effort of not allowing capital punishment in those places. They kind of let down on it because wherever it is allowed, so many innocent people will go into that because the law sometimes is not patient to go through all of these processes. So that's what that last statement means. So if you are managing company stakeholders, that means you are lobbying. Now, what does it mean? In other words, the person gives out bribe. Now, what does this mean? If you're managing company stakeholders, there is every possibility that the person gives out bribe. So you're not saying that the person gives out bribe in a mild tone. You're saying someone is giving out bribe or is receiving bribe in a very mild tone, and you're saying the person is just lobbying. How do you do the lobbying? The lobbying goes after money exchanges hands or money rubs one hand and the other. So let's go to the number 2. The second one is antithesis. Yes, antithesis. Now, antithesis is another figure. Remember, we've taken note of 3 figures of speech. We've done the first one. We've done the second one, and then this will be the third one. Now, the third one here is antithesis. Antithesis, in the simplest of terms, means opposite. It means you're referring to opposites. That's, you know, we've learned opposites, words opposites. If it's not black, it's white. If it's not white, it's black. It cannot it cannot turn from white to yellow. It's either light or darkness or dark, whichever way. Now, when we talk about antithesis, we're talking about 2 opposite ideas coming together to achieve a contrasting effect. You're bringing something different here, you're bringing another thing that has a different meaning, and then you're coming to bring them together to achieve a contrasting or a confusing or a conflicting effect. That's what it means. Now, another word for antithesis is opposite. One word or one phrase is word, the other phrase beside it is the opposite, and then understand that they cannot always give you what you want, but when you pay attention to it, there is always meaning beneath it. Now, one thing you need to understand in every figure of speech is that there is always an underlying meaning beneath every statement. When you pay attention, you'll be able to understand the message that is always hidden in it. Now, one of them here is man proposes, God disposes. Sorry. Man proposes, God opposes. These are statements we've heard over time. These are languages we are very much familiar with. And in this case now, you know what it means to say man proposes, God has a plan and man has a different plan. Man has a different plan, God has a different plan, and vice versa. We have the next one. Love is the real thing, marriage is the ideal thing. Love is real, love is genuine, but then it's not just enough to say, I love you. It's not just enough to say, I'm in love with someone. The real thing here is marriage. That is to say, every love must, the ultimate show of love is in marriage. Without heading to the altar to receive approval from God, then nothing else there is real. And then the third one, that's one small step for man, a giant step for mankind. This statement was made by Neil Armstrong when he landed on the moon. I've forgotten the year that happened, but with a little bit of research, you can always find it. Okay, I'm giving you that assignment. Look up the year that happened, the year Neil Armstrong set foot on the moon. So that was when that statement came up. That is one small step for man, but a giant step for mankind. Then we have the next one. Many are called, few are chosen. Many are called, few are chosen. Then to err is human, to forgive is divine. Well, this is one of the statements that was made in a story told by William Shakespeare. I may not be able to remember the particular story right now, the particular title right now, but it's one of the lines in Shakespeare's story. I think either the Merchant of Venice or something. Yes, I think so. So you can also look that up in case I'm wrong, so I don't give you the wrong information here. But understand that these are simple statements that have been collated over time from different sources. So that's what we call, these are all the things that make up figures of speech. So understand, we have done three. We have treated oxymoron, we have treated the other one, antithesis, and then the one on top of it, which is euphemism, making them three. So as expected, you're going to get classwork. With your classwork section or your classwork portal, you will get an activity to do there. You go through it, carry out your activity and submit, and then it will be marked and you'll receive it again. And then continue being safe, continue staying indoors. If you have nothing to do outside, please remain inside and keep being safe. I love you all.